Hello, everybody. Welcome back to All Things Scientology, in which we pull back the curtain on the abusive practices of Scientology. We're your hosts. I'm Claire Headley.
And I'm Amy Scobie. And with us today, we have a very special guest, someone who I've known since he was a little toddler. No.
Not quite that long, but pretty close.
Mike Brown. Yes.
Yay,
Hi,
Mike.
Hi, thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mike. We appreciate it too.
Yes. Well, you have had a really, really, really busy week or two with your story and the story of your mother. And we're going to talk about that tonight. But you're going to be with us on our week in review as well. So we're going to go through all of that. Okay.
I feel like I'm on like some sort of news thing, like Outnumbered or something. So I'll just be here and be quiet. Yeah.
You don't have to be quiet. That's one thing for sure.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm going to add this and see how it does here. Here we go. Yep, perfect. And look I put the week ending, W/E. So this is a week in review for week ending October 11th, 2023 today. Okay, so what got done this week in my end of the woods was nothing. Besides, I did a little clip of our last week's where Matt was talking about his rat incident. Don't give me no lip, Matt and the rat. And that was
crazy, crazy.
I mean, so the reaction to that was crazy. But the mindset that you're in as a Sea Org member, when you haven't slept and haven't slept and haven't slept, and you finally are going to sleep on the floor, and any floor, it doesn't matter how concrete it is, no matter how dirty it is, it doesn't matter. It looks comfortable, and you're going to go to sleep, you know?
Yeah.
And so Matt did what he had to do. And anyway, that was pretty interesting. But other than that, on my end of things, Matt and I are both writing our books, and I'm also creating my audiobook. It takes a lot of work and attention. And so that's what we did. We have things coming up, which I'll explain on our, as we go through here. But so I was down stat last week.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You know what? We elect to do this, so there are no requirements. Your life is most important, and so I don't approve of the use of the word downstat on this show.
Claire, Claire is my voice of reason, and whenever I need that, I call you and you call me.
Yes.
And you're a voice of reason, and I'm telling you, in this crazy world and our crazy lives, it is needed. And so just so that you know and the world knows, you are so appreciated. I can tell you
you are appreciated
right
too. I think we all in this community have, different but special bonds that are unique to each of us. And so we've been through a lot, so we have to own that too.
This can be a downstat, easy to live and work with group.
Yes, there you go.
A little spin on it,
Yeah.
The spin on the knowledge report policy letter. That we had to memorize. But and then Mike, I'm so happy that you're in this community too, because I have such a huge heart for you and everything that you do and everything you stand for, and also just the love in your heart and your family. Oh man, it's amazing. And so that I feel is such an injection of light and love into this community. And so I really appreciate that you have taken the leap, even though it's added stress onto everything else you've got going on in life. But we love having you here.
Well, I'm very glad to be here. I'm very fortunate to have a very supportive family. My wife, Emily, is amazing. She carves out time so that I can come up here and, get on and be able to share these stories. We both think it's very important. And it's actually something that I've wanted to start kind of sharing for a long time. And I wasn't ever really sure if I would be able to talk through these things. I do like to talk. So that's good, but I
Yeah.
wasn't really sure if it would ever make sense for me to do so. And it's allowed me to reconnect in a way that I can kind of start to share my story a bit by bit, but also be able to help my mother. And we'll talk about some of that tonight. But
Yeah.
therapeutic, because in the way that I left, I didn't have anything Scientology or Scientology adjacent at all in my life. So
Mm-hmm.
do this is a good way to process a lot of things. And I'm hoping by going on different people's channels, I'm going to be on with Mitch tomorrow. I think Laura and I are going to do something next week, which that'll be interesting. I think Wednesday. So we'll get on and talk together too. And that'll be an interesting conversation. I'm sure people want to hear that, because I was several years older than Laura, and she doesn't necessarily remember me as a person that she enjoyed being around, but we have a lot more in common now that we've had a chance to talk than we have ever thought we did. So it's going to be a really good conversation. So doing this is
and she's
something to,
and
she's an
chat, by the
interesting
way. Yeah. And she's in the chat, and she said at the outset, she said, "Okay, time for some healing."
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
This is going to be very, it is. I'm really glad, Mike. I'm really glad.
Me too.
And then to continue just what was done this week, we had another week of the film that trains Scientologists to catch suppressives. Mark and Mitch make a Scientology film. I like that Mark and Mitch make movies.
Yes.
That's what you texted me today. I thought that was funny. But anyway, so that's another one that they did this week. And then you did Scientology's next big money grab. What was that one about?
That was a live we did. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. So we did a live yesterday with Mark and I and Mike and Christy. Oh, wait,
Yep,
this was from the week before, I think. Gosh, see, I'm losing track.
No,
I'm
good at getting everything that's after our last one. So
you're very good at that. It's my brain that's not keeping up.
It's your brain. Well, you guys probably were talking about
this was on Thursday. We did this on Thursday last week. Yep. Yeah. And so it was Mark and I and Mike, and just chatting about Scientology nonsense.
Okay, well, that's awesome. I'm so glad you do, and I love seeing Mike on all these channels.
Yes.
And then, of course, here we got Leah and Mike interviewing Rosemary about elder abuse and Scientology.
Oh, that was amazing.
And there she is. Yes, the world was happy to see Rosemary there. And
she is watching live right now as well.
Yay. Hi, Rosemary. I laughed so hard when she was like, and I just realized LRH is a piece of shit. It was the best. Absolutely the best.
Just seeing her face and her voice, and I love the explanation, the detailed explanation of the mind or thoughts pattern of what occurs as you are distancing yourself and coming to a realization and realizing that, what you've been involved in wasn't what you thought you were involved in, and that it's so valuable. It's so valuable to break that with other people, and for them to hear the process that took, I think is just fantastic.
Yes.
And Rosemary, hi. I wanted to tell you so many times, give her a hug and a kiss from me, but if she's listening, mwah. There you go.
Yes, all the hugs for Rosemary.
Yes, and then Mike got in on the action there too. I had to get this screenshot. So he was in there helping out with the AV, and then also adding some commentary in there, which was also extremely valuable. I think this is going to go down in history as one of the most important exposés that have been done about what goes on in Scientology. Honestly, really,
completely.
Yeah, we're
absolutely.
Hoping so. It's extremely brave of her to share this story. It's especially given that she's only been out for less than 2 years at this point. Well, So anyway, we'll get into some details about that, because she and I had a very interesting conversation today, and I want to share it with everybody. It's going to be good.
Okay. Nice. Oh, we want to hear all about that. Yeah.
And remind me to talk about the phenomena of the internet and SPTV when we have that conversation.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phenomena. Okay, good. And then also you went on Aaron's channel with Sterling, and you had this great conversation. I loved this video, Scientology's fake Navy versus the real military. But there were so many good points in that. That I mean, I took a ton of notes from watching that because it's so true. All the different things that you brought up, and I urge anybody who hasn't seen that video to go and see that. Watch it on Mike's channel to give him some love and support.
Yes.
Because it's really good. Really good.
Awesome.
Yes.
Did you hit your watch hours yet, Mike?
So I have. So I've hit my subscriber count, and I've hit the watch hours. Actually, I hit the subscriber count like within the first 24 hours, which is crazy to me. I have a good
Totally
friend
crazy.
at work. He watches my videos and stuff, but he had no prior information about any of this stuff. And he has his own little YouTube channel, and he's like kind of working on it. It's kind of his little side hustle. And he's been doing it for a little while. And, then I get on, and then just like all of the support shows up, and he's like, man, I have like 24 subs. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And he's like, this is crazy the way this is happening. It was hard for the algorithm to catch up with people that were interested in the story. But I have hit those milestones. I'm starting to work through the process of kind of making the channel more official. So I'll just chip away at it, and it'll kind of get better as I go once I figure out what I'm doing. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's really a learning curve, and and it does get better and better and easier. Boy, it was like jumping through whatever hoops when I first started. Now I'm a whiz. No, I have fun with the editing. I figured out what software I could figure out, and that has nice little things that I can do, effects and everything like that, which I like. So this is another video that was done. This is the one you were talking about.
Yes.
With Mike and Christy talking about the IES event, right?
Yes, that's right. This is the one we did last night. Yes.
Yeah. That was a fun conversation. I was there with you on that.
Yes, I saw you. Thank
chat.
you for joining us. Yep.
Of course,
absolutely. Always.
I would have been that little square in the center there if I.
Right.
It gets funny when you have so many, but yeah. Love all of you guys so much. Yeah.
Likewise.
And then I've got a YouTube comment of the week. This is on my channel. Somebody who does great comments all the time, which is Love It 7484.
You want me to read it?
She said first.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead if you want to. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I'll read it. First, thank you for sharing your book. I've had so many reactions, heartbreak and joy for you and Matt all in one bubble. One thing keeps hitting me over and over, the complete heartbreak every Scientologist faces when they realize that the Scientology mission is a lie. The complete loss of everything they've believed and worked years for smashed to bits. As much as DM angers me to rage, I have a soft spot for Scientologists. As never ends, it's too easy to just get stuck in the anger of what this cult does with abuse and fair game. Truth is, these are people's lives who, through careful manipulation and isolation, believe they are on the side of the angels. Every member of Scientology truly wants to help the world. Oh, my heart breaks for that loss when the truth is revealed. As a Neverin, I think it's important we use the anger we feel to fight for change alongside of ex-Scientology members while keeping our compassion and love for what these members have gone through. I have so much more to say, but a comment isn't supposed to be equal to the book War and Peace. LOL. Love you. That's a wonderful comment.
Yeah, and I think it's just so true because how do you describe to somebody what it takes to actually get your mind out of a cult?
Right.
Especially an abusive one. And but the support from this community is just amazing. And that's part of the healing process, is talking about it, talking with others about it who've been through it, talking with others who've never been through it and have a complete different perspective of like how things should have been. But anyway, I just love that comment. So Love It 7484, email me, amy@scoby-publishing.com, and I will send you a copy of my book. I really appreciate that comment.
Yes. And by the way, I think now is a good time to give a shout out to all the amazing partners like Emily who, have, I don't know, it's just it's so hard to work through all of this. And Emily is an angel, as are all the other partners that stand by people like us who have been through all this and have so much trauma and so much embedded language, isolation, inability to ask for help. You know, we have to break all of that down, and it takes a really special person to do that. So shout out to all those amazing partners out there who have shown love to us former Scientologists.
Yes, I know.
Absolutely.
And I have more to say on that. I should probably do its own video, but when we get to the show and tell, I'll tell you a couple more things. But, I'm actually, my heart is so full that there's so many compassionate people in the world.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I'm not going to go into that much more detail because I really have a lot of emotion about that.
Yes.
Living in a place that didn't have that for a very long time, and taught you that the outside world was mean and destructive. And there is a lot of that in this world, but hey, there's more good than there is bad.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to share the photo of the week this week, and it is a collage.
Oh, nice. Oh, look at that.
Davy. Someone put this up on the Cults and Crafts. Oh, it was just so great. And so I had to download that. There's the little Navy anchors and stuff, and Davy in all kinds of positions being a chew toy.
Yep.
And no pricks allowed on the mat there. Little pin pricks all over him. Yeah, next to a skull and crossbones. Oh, he's been cuddled by a kitty. That's kind of cute.
Yep, little Davy doll has shipped all over the world at this point, including to Denmark, Austria, Australia, New Zealand. There was one I did today that, if I can find it real quick, I was like, wow, I don't know that I've ever shipped to that place before, which is unusual because I've shipped to many, 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 many different places. Anyway, I'll find it and tell you which one it was.
Okay.
Oh, Finland. Yes.
Finland. Oh, little Davy.
Yes.
Troll is going to be in Finland. Wow, that's amazing. Well, here's my special photo that I took, which is, thank you, John Zatowski, or however you say your last name. But
yep, that's it. John Zatowski. Providing endless humor to the SPTV community, one live at a time.
Yes. Oh, they have great fudge. I just sent a package like that up to, it's my stepmom's birthday coming up. So I thought, oh, she'd get a kick out of this. So I got her a peanut butter and chocolate fudge from there.
Nice.
Anyway, thank you, John. Of course, now I'm on a diet, so don't send anything else like that. But I had to get Davy in there with the Uranus. Logo. So
yes, that
is that a play on words or something?
Oh, absolutely. Listen to this, Mike.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I have
so funny.
I have the same box here. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Uranus Fudge Factory and General Store. The best fudge comes from Uranus. Probe Uranus deeper. Sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date on our products, events, and special offers. Anyway, and there's a whole news...
Fudge packers.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's a whole newspaper or like a newsletter. Aaron did a great job showcasing it, and he even sampled the fudge, and it was really funny.
He probably had in his teeth, and it was,
oh, God. Oh, that's funny. But anyway, it is really good fudge too. So that was good. And then the next thing is Scientology word of the week. And my husband picked this one, Matt. Okay, You ready?
Yep.
Play. The normal definition is activity engaged in for enjoyment or entertainment. Sentence, play can relieve stress and create joy. Scientology definition. This is a quote out of Problems of Work. It says, somebody invented the difference between work and play. Play was seen to be something interesting, and work was seen to be something arduous and necessary. Play is almost purposeless. Work has purpose. Play should be called work without purpose. Activity without a purpose. Cult speak. Production is the only basis of morale, so get back to work. There's no time for play. How do you like that?
Yeah, I really struggled with that, actually. like being in learning how to do something that had no purpose other than my own mental well-being was very, very hard for me to learn how to do.
Tell me about it. Yeah, like if I wasn't at a dead run, it'd be like, Matt said several times, like, he'd turn on the UFC while he's eating lunch or something, and I'm like, don't you have something better to do? In the middle of the afternoon, like you're turning on the TV. What the hell? I couldn't have it. It was just so not normal. It's still kind of hard for me, but we got to take a break every once in a while, and do things that are fun. It doesn't have to be just arduous pain at all times.
Yeah.
And work can be fun too. Work can be so fun, I found.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, when you're doing something that doesn't suck, that helps a lot too.
Yeah, and for people who don't suck either, and for people who appreciate you and tell you like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're like I had a conversation like that today, somebody I've worked with for 15 years, and they're just like, you have no idea how valuable your work is, and we could not live without it. I was just like, oh my gosh, wow, thank you so much. It's really important to learn to show appreciation, and and I tell people that all the time. Like anytime we interact with somebody, I'm like, this cannot be for free, because we were so taken for granted, taken advantage of for so many years, that I really feel huge guilt if I feel that I'm doing that to somebody. Like it's actually repulsive now.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Well, for me, one thing that I struggled with was trying just to learn how to relax and just to have like quiet time to yourself and to do something for yourself that was, I don't know, just individually focused, because the whole idea of, just focusing on you as an individual person and your mental health and your physical health was almost frowned upon. Yet the great leader was, going on scuba diving expeditions and showing all of his underwater photography. So it's a lot to deprogram out of, and going into the military was a super easy way to relax and just kind of chill out. It's been good. Yeah.
We've heard a lot of your stories, Mike. Mark and I were both like, what?
We need to hear those stories.
We'll have to do a live.
I will honestly say, it needs its own video and stuff, and I'd love to talk about it, but I can honestly say that getting used to living like that when we lived like that in California, being at the Int Base and working like the way that we did, when I went into basic training and advanced individual training, which is kind of the follow-on job specific training in the military, it was very easy to put up with what other people were dealing with in terms of psychological stress. There was a lot of physical stress that you had to go through and like all of the things that you had to accomplish. But in terms of the psychological aspect, I was like, it's not that bad.
Right.
And then the only thing that came close to it was when I did training, which is called SEER School, which is Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. That's sort of like if anyone's seen the movie G.I. Jane when you're in the concentration camp. Well, pilots get put through that kind of training so that you're ready in the event that you get shot down and separated from your unit. Going through that was like, okay, this is sort of like, feels like I'm, back at gold now. There was a lot of physical aspect, much, much more, but the psychological aspect was very similar to what I was already used to. So it was kind of an easy transition that way. But then I've had to work through, just the relaxation aspect myself, and, just the mental healing, which has come slowly. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. One thing I did with my mom when I was taking care of her in hospice is we got adult coloring books and a bunch of pens and pencils, and we just sat together and colored, and it was like so therapeutic somehow. And so after she passed and I was taking care of Matt's mom in hospice, I did the same thing. I got a whole bunch of coloring books and just she and I would just sit there and color. And it's just relaxing. It takes your mind off of everything, and so much peace. Could you imagine if I was in the Sea Org and I just started coloring?
You probably think you're nuts.
Yeah. I'd be sent to the RPF or something stupid. But anyway,
Yeah, it's
Yes.
crazy.
Anyway,
Crazy.
that's all.
It's sad that so much of that was normalized on us to such an extreme extent, and like in your case, Mike, at such a young age.
Yeah.
Well, look
And
who's talking.
well, fair, noted. Yes, I'm just saying I was, being
Yeah.
the host.
Being
But
gracious,
yeah.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, no, it's
no
just,
case on post, right?
yeah, no, I know it is just so much to work through, but I am encouraged by the amazing community of people that have sprung up in this world out here, and to be able to help others by sharing our experiences, I think is hugely beneficial.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. 100%. Anyway, I don't know when you want to talk about, if we want to talk about some of the fun, some of the Aftermath Foundation progress. Do we want to wait until November 4th?
Yes,
when you
yes,
Okay,
we're gonna,
because I just wanted to say, like, okay, Wonder Woman, you're gonna definitely be speaking up on some of the things that are ongoing, because behind the scenes, you guys, it's just, it's really fantastic. It's really fantastic. And if I won the lottery, you'd get half of it. That's what I think.
no, that's okay. No, we will have all
the big
kinds of
Powerball
updates.
that's like, almost $2 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, go Claire. Get it, have her sign something. Okay.
Put it in writing.
Get it in writing.
Oh,
no, it's okay.
Oh.
I'm perfectly happy with my life as it is. I don't need anything. I'm happy to work a long day and do good deeds and try and help people. But yes, we have many, and hopefully some of those, well, not hopefully, definitely several things will have come to fruition by the time we have our November 4th Aftermath fundraiser IAS event. So look for amazing updates coming soon from the Aftermath board. Yes.
And they are amazing.
Yes.
Okay, and so now we've got a quote of the week. And so this is a quote that Claire sent me, and I said, I know where that comes from. It says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves." That's from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4-7. I said, Claire, that's a very famous quote from the Bible, and she didn't realize that was what it was. But yeah,
it's a good quote.
It is beautiful. It is a really beautiful quote, and it's something that I strive to, emulate. I try. I'm definitely not perfect at it, but yes, I loved it. Okay, so coming soon. You ready?
Yep.
What is coming up? So I will be doing a live with Liz Ferris this Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time regarding upcoming protest at Celebrity Center being held October 21st. So that's coming right up soon.
Nice.
And then, yes. And then I'll be doing a live with Apostate Alex this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time regarding the upcoming IAS event in England. And that's going to be a good one too. There's a lot of activity going on that. And he's going to be telling us all about that. And I can tell him, some fun things about what happened at the Int Base in preparation for the IAS event. I was there when they filmed all those IAS, that intro with the horses, because I was working in the cinematography area as a
out
messenger
on the South Lawn
at that time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a big deal back then.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Blown for Good will upload another episode of Where's Shelley on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And another episode of Mark and Mitch Make Movies will be done. And then our next week guest for All Things Scientology will be Christy Rinder on Leaving the Cult for Good. So that'll be a fun one. And then again on November 4th is the IAS Aftermath fundraiser, which will be 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Perfect. And so starting next week, we will move our start time. We want to announce that now, Amy? Yes, we'll move our start time starting next Wednesday for All Things Scientology. We will be starting at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central. I'm trying to be all inclusive. And thank you, Amy, for your flexibility. It just makes it so that I can pick up my kiddo from trombone and get my kids fed and, happy family, happy me.
Yes. Yeah. We want you happy. Yeah. It's no problem for me at all to move it an hour later. No problem at all. I hope everyone else is fine on that, which I'm sure that they will be. They'll make do. There's always replay if you can't catch a live. So
yes.
Okay, so now we have show and tell. I don't know if you have anything,
I do.
Claire, for that.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So I got this really cool thing from Clearwater Cheryl today. And it came with this little note that says, Claire Bear, this is your Thetan, freshly cleared of all evil intentions by an ESO member. So it comes with a heart. We all know the key to life is love. Enjoy. So this is... and so I named her Clarissa.
Oh, I love it.
She's got a heart.
Yeah.
And she's got a little bear.
I love it.
It's so cute.
That is so wonderful. Well, I got this. Be the change you wish to see.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I go this way. And inside, this is one of my subscribers. Her name is April Goodson. And she wrote me this lovely, lovely note, and I can just read it real quick. It says, Amy, I really hope you enjoyed this notebook. As a proud never-in SP and member of the Beehive, I wanted to get you this to remind you of exactly what you are doing. You are being, with two E's, being the change you wish to see. All of you have such wonderful stories. While traumatic and painful, those events were not in vain because they are helping others leave their terrible situations. You are our Queen BSP, and for others, a true savior and hero, and you deserve those titles. Thank you for all you do and will continue to do. Your bravery and resilience is awe-inspiring. Watching you, Matt, Mike, Mark, Claire, Aaron, Chris, Reese, Nora, Liz Gale, and Ferris, and so many others is such a great part of my day. Thank you for all you do and hope you enjoy this and have a great day. Love always, April Goodson. And all of my BTs and FBs. The FBs are the fur babies. Gizmo, Rio, Stitch, Roxy, Iggsy, Daya, Gypsy, Carlisle, Charlie, Negan, and Murphy.
Wow. That's a lot of fur babies. Holy moly.
Yes. And they're all super cute. And she sent me pictures of those. But that's just love right back to you. And thank you so much for that. And this one, I won't read this one, but Amy Molonig, I think it is, from Texas. Maybe I will read this. I mean, it's just fantastic. Do you want to hear? Should I go ahead and do it?
Sure.
Read it. Are you okay on that? Okay, so it says, hi, Amy. I started watching Aaron's channel during the first trial and became hooked on the SP network. I am an avid listener, watcher, and a subscriber to several channels, including yours. I am constantly shocked by the stories of how neglectful Scientology is to its members physically, mentally, and spiritually. I wanted to let you know how moved I was listening to you read the final chapter of your book. Your emotions were so raw, and I was in tears with you. Know that while you feel you have given so much of your time helping this organization clear the planet, quote unquote, it has not been in vain. Without your previous passion and decades of experience with Scientology, you wouldn't have the knowledge and repurposed passion to help clear this planet of Scientology and its destructiveness. This is the power you have taken away from Scientology. This is the power and purpose that has been given you to pursue the fight. I know a lot of this emotion is connected to the recent loss of your father and the years you spent away from him. I lost my father in 2021 to Parkinson's. I never thought I would lose a parent in my mid-40s and feel so robbed of the one person I know truly loved me. But the fact is, we can't turn back time, and the only option we are given is to move forward and to make a change. That is what you and others in the SPTV movement are doing, making change through loss and changing darkness into light. In the last year of watching SPTV, I can say that there have been 2 times I have been overcome by a truth that was spoken to me, which is odd because I'm someone who wrestles with God and spirituality. The first was when Claire was going to testify. I, like you, felt overcome led to pray for her so that she be given the right words, strength, and courage, and that it was openly received by the jury and justice would prevail. Claire also has in her favor that she is a wicked, smart badass. The second was when Sterling was on his channel following Mike Brown sharing Rosemary's story. He was rightfully emotional over his parents still being in the Sea Org. Again, I was overcome by a feeling that Foster and Barbara will come back to Sterling and hope in my heart that this comes to fruition. So from one Amy to another, stay strong and keep your sweet laughter. All my best to you and Matt, Amy. And then it's P.S. Somehow Matt's rat story made me cringe to my core and laugh out loud at the same time.
Those are the best kind often.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, I mean, I bring this up and this notebook up and that comment of the week up because those are the comments. This is the community that is holding us up with love and support. And it makes all the difference to encourage us to continue. And I just want to acknowledge that and thank these people and everyone who comments and supports in any way this community. I can't say it enough.
I know, completely.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Truly.
So here's a plug for if you are not subscribed to any one of our channels, please go to Blown for Good and subscribe, or Queen BSP and Mike Brown 101. For any of the people, we got about 1,000 people watching live right now. If you're not subscribed, please do so. It really helps us. And that is it for a review in the week.
Awesome.
Week in review.
Full week. And now for our guest of the week, Mike, we're giving you the floor.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
I very much appreciate it. I feel I didn't have anything ready for show and tell. I was going to bring my my new little Davy doll
Nice.
that I got in the mail. The problem is overnight he keeps moving back, and I find him in the morning hanging off the bottle of scotch. I don't know why, but he just keeps making his way back there, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So
I need a picture of that, please.
No problem.
Yeah.
So it's like, it kind of makes sense, but anyway, humor nonetheless. So I did want to cover something because Rosemary and my mom, and I'm sure that a lot of people that are probably watching are familiar with her story. I'm going to kind of jump in a little bit, just kind of about halfway in and not really give her whole context because it is a lot. But she was working for the Sea Organization for 35 years. She was up at the international base working as an executive assistant for Ronnie Miscavige Jr., who is David Miscavige's older brother and who worked as a marketing executive international for a very long period of time, at least a decade. During that time, she was really his, the same as pretty much a personal assistant and secretary. She handled those functions. The Sea Org calls it different stuff, but that's really what it was. So during that time, she was working for him. There was some inappropriate workplace behavior on Ronnie's part. And when that then was found out by the Religious Technology Center and that was investigated, Ronnie had, I guess, divulged that in his interrogations he was getting. Rosemary was ultimately punished for that and removed from that organization where she was the executive assistant. And later, she found herself in a lower organization, still up at the international management level, working at Golden Era Productions, taking care of the VIPs. So she was in charge of the VIP meals and their living quarters. It was like these very nicely appointed little apartments that they have on the south side of the property. She was in charge of keeping those, and kind of being at their availability on whatever these very important VIPs would need. That this would be any like artists that would come to the property, any guests of Religious Technology Center. Mitch Brisker, Danny Sherman were probably two of the frequent flyers down there. So then years later, so this is about 4 years pass, and after this time, Rosemary, I had blown the gold base. I left, and shortly after that, she was then rounded up with a bunch of other people and sent to the Rehabilitation Project Force in Los Angeles. This is the thought reconditioning camp. I can't overstress enough how much being on the RPF, and Amy, you've talked about it quite a bit because you have experienced this. You have rights and you're handled like you are a prisoner. Like somebody who is incarcerated, that is what it's like to be on the Rehabilitation Project Force. And I will probably say that in terms of their living conditions and the food that they eat, being a prisoner would probably be a step up from being in the RPF.
Oh, 100%. I mean, yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's worse than being a prisoner. Like a prisoner can speak to a guard. An RPF, someone in the Rehabilitation Project Force, is not even allowed to originate communication to anyone not also in that program.
Correct. Like you are locked down.
And you can never see your family. You can't see your family. I mean, they could be on the same property.
There's no conjugal visits. There's no, like, that stuff doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, just frame that in mind. So she was already in a situation where she was in trouble for this at one period. 4 years passed, and then later she was then sent down to this Rehabilitation Project Force for that reason before, on what she had done when she was really the victim of a situation. And and I'm going to kind of bring this full circle.
How much time elapsed? But 4
About
years.
4.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is double jeopardy, where she was already removed from this job. Yeah. When she was, in fact, in the position where she was, a victim of a senior executive in this situation. And then 4 years later, they're just kicking all sorts of people off this base. By this time, Ronnie and, most of the other Miscavige family had already blown and was gone from the Int Base. So Rosemary was just like, well, I guess, I don't know why they kept, like maybe they kept her there because it doesn't make sense. But now she was and the only crime they had against her, because she's a very caring, loving, hardworking person, was this out 2D, which is their code for, inappropriate touching of a, personal nature, the way that they call, that's one of the worst things you can do in the Sea organization. And that's what she was then sent down there for. They didn't so much as convene one of their, bullshit justice procedures. She didn't have a committee of evidence, which is their little version of a court martial or a court proceeding. Right. She didn't even have an assignment, like an actual piece of paper that told her why she was there.
God.
She went down there and she was sitting there on that program, and they were working her and all this for 2 months before, down in like the LA area, they're like, why is she here? We don't even have any paperwork on her. And they had to generate that and send it down so that they had a thing so they could start doing her, processing in order to get her through this thing. So that's the complete disregard that, and she wasn't the only one in this kind of category. There was probably more than 100 people from the international base that were in similar situations. Theirs unique to them, but this was hers. So what I wanted to do is and in the conversation I was having with my mom, there was a bunch of other things that transpired over the course of many years where she was then taken advantage of by Scientology. She had money that was extorted from her of a massive quantity once she became a senior citizen, and any sort of, they were running up credit cards in her name, and she was just stuck with unbelievable abuse of, personal abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and financial abuse that is extremely detailed documentation that has occurred. And she's, she keeps copious notes on everything, and she has great records. So we have all that. But what I wanted to talk about is, because she and I were talking about this today, was what it was, because when I didn't know ever why she was on the RPF, I was out of contact with her, and she had disconnected from me because I was a suppressive person because I blew. And at some point we'll have to do a whole thing where I talk about my SP declare, because I actually have the piece of paper. So we'll have to go through it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
We have ours
do it
too.
Together. We have ours too.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about it. But anyway.
And quick question was, so she was a total of 6 years on the RPF, right? Like after 4.5 years of.
So after 4.5 years had already passed, and she was probably restricted to the international base, like in a kind of house arrest kind of thing after it was found out about, for about 4 to 6 months. So I want people to just put this into perspective. Yeah. If I told you you're going to be on house arrest for a day in your normal lives, you would look at me and say, there is no way that's going to happen.
Right.
So now extrapolate that out into weeks, months, or years. We're talking about prison sentences for people of, that have committed crimes that are shorter than these periods.
Right.
Like, this is serious. The amount of control that they have, taken of these people's lives is unbelievable.
Yep.
So just
and
to
it's
frame
not
it
even
now,
a house arrest, like where I've got my refrigerator or whatever. I mean, these are like
you're in a work
you're
camp.
put in like bad conditions. Yeah.
You're in a work camp. You're in a labor camp, and you're not being well taken care of. So we'll fast forward quite a long time. This is right before we're in the process now of kind of working out what it's going to take with the Aftermath Foundation in order to get her out of Los Angeles. So now we're up to the point of late 2021 is when this would kind of be in right around. So I was talking to her on the phone, and I usually on my drive home every day, I would call her. Any extra time I have, I would just call her, because she's in this like nursing home in Glendale, and I'm just trying to kind of help her process so much that she is buried deep. And she was telling me how long she spent on the RPF, and I had no reason to. I had no understanding or no reason to believe that she was on the RPF for any reason other than one that she needed to be there for. So I asked her, I'm like, Mom, why were you on the RPF? And she's like, well, I don't, she's like, I feel really embarrassed to say this. And I'm like, you can share with me. It's okay, but you don't have to. And she told me about the reason why she got sent down there, because it was of this workplace abuse that had occurred where, an executive kind of took advantage of her. And it was hard for her to say. She's like, I didn't, and she just told me like just the words, like it was out 2D with Ronnie Miscavige, and she didn't elaborate on that at all. So after we had talked for many, many weeks, just going over it, she started kind of telling me and what it consisted of. And I'm like, Mom, that's not consensual. You were victimized in this situation. I'm not trying to make her a victim or put words in her mouth, but she was still in this mindset that she had done something wrong.
Right.
And that's where
she was a victim, by the way.
She was, absolutely.
And that's something
100%.
that we have to like get out of our minds, is that it's true. We were victims. We were victims of a dangerous cult. We were victims of abuse. She was a victim, and victim is such a bad word in Scientology and frowned upon. It's grooved into you that if you're a victim, you're a bad, dumb person or something.
Right.
No. She's strong and she's a loving person, but she was a victim of abuse.
Yeah.
100%.
And the victim blaming and shaming that is built into Scientology policy.
So intense.
Even separate to the fact that they never report to law enforcement, they enable perpetrators to perpetrate crimes and then blame and shame the victims for those.
So for an individual, and this is what I started like seeing firsthand, because you hear a lot of these stories, and it's very true to say that it is extremely brave of a victim to speak out and take action in order to do something. That is absolutely a true statement. But unless you've been face to face with a person that is in that situation, you see and you hear and you experience what that means specifically for them, and the emotional and like struggle and the turmoil that they have to go through, it's a whole new level to actually like have it right there in front of you. And as I was seeing this, I was like, whoa, it's a lot for her. And slowly we talked through it, and she was able to share it. And she, did a very good job of detailing the specifics of this when she talked to her attorneys, Brad and Brittany, when they came and interviewed her and went over all the specifics. But when we were talking then today, and because now like this story has been told, she has a lot of support. There's a lot of people that are like advocating for her. And like, she knows that she's on the right side of this conversation now, which in her mind, I don't think that had fully processed until more recently. But she said to me, she's like, Mike, I didn't think that I would ever be able to talk about this. Not with you, not with anybody, let alone to actually make this so that I'm talking about it. And she said for a couple reasons. She's like, first is I felt like, guilt and those emotions that are normally tied in with somebody that's dealing with something like this. Yeah. She also felt embarrassment. But then at the same time, she also she feared retribution from Scientology if she would say something. And that was something that she had. But also there was another point, and this is where I'm going to kind of take a little bit of a detour in terms of the way I want to frame some of these things. She's like, I didn't want to hurt people I cared very much about by telling this story. And I said, well, Mom, can you tell me what you mean by that? She's like, I specifically mean because she took care of Jenna, who is Ronnie and Biddy's daughter, when she was young. She read Jenna's book multiple times, and she cares very much about the perception of what people are going to think if we demonize Ronnie for what happened, and how every road is now going to lead to something bad if it has to do with Ronnie or anyone who is connected with Ronnie. And that's where it was very interesting to have this conversation, because it's very easy for anytime somebody mentions somebody, if they're telling another story, that people are going to want to cancel the conversation that has anything to do with an individual, even if it's not about the situation that is unique to her. And this is where I think that this is important. And we're talking through with her, she feels very strongly that she does not want, if anyone needs to tell their story, and it includes, for instance, Ronnie, I'm not, and I'll probably go out on a limb and say that I'm probably somebody that doesn't like Ronnie Miscavige very much, but I do agree that this is a good way to look at it. It doesn't mean every instance of an interaction that Ronnie has ever had is a bad thing. It's not like everything he ever did was bad. And it doesn't mean that he is not a loving father and that he didn't try to take care of his daughter. It doesn't mean that if people need to tell stories or talk about their interactions with him on a professional level, because we need to do these things as we're talking about like the management structure of Scientology, that it has to lead back to Rosemary's story. And so if Sterling and I need to talk about a story that has to do with marketing, and somehow Ronnie's in it, that doesn't lead back to that doesn't have anything to do with Rosemary.
Right.
If Mitch is telling a story about, when he was involved in the Dianetics campaign with Jeff Hawkins and Ronnie was there and his impressions of that doesn't need to be tied into it. So we just want to make sure that people understand that we want to promote the idea of people sharing their stories and being able to have nuanced conversation without feeling that if anyone has any connection to that it's their problem, because it is not. So and I think more of the focus of where we're actually need to put our emphasis is the situation was what it was in terms of the abuse that occurred, and what should have happened is the corporation that was responsible for both the executive and for the assistant to the executive should have intervened and actually done the right thing.
Right.
What actually happened is they have traumatized and re-traumatized and actually re-victimized her in terms of the RPFing, the making it her problem. Rosemary went specifically to the executive director international before she got removed from that organization and said, I did not do anything wrong. I'm telling you, I didn't want this. I didn't want any of this. I didn't know what to do. And he's like, Rosemary, I believe you. There's nothing I can do for you. And that's what the most senior,
as executive director international,
as international. He has no sway over this. So I know that that's a very convoluted, complex thing to talk about, but I think more of the point of where we want to go with this, and the only reason why it was important to share all of this story was, what did the church that she worked tirelessly for, how did they help her as in a response to this? That's the conversation.
How did they respond?
More important than is Ronnie Miscavige an asshole or not? Because
in
this instance, he at least owes her an apology. But the conversation isn't as much about Ronnie as like the way they will take something, and they being Scientology and as an organization and as a corporation, re-victimized and then weaponized that abuse in order to manipulate a person. That, I think, is what needs to be talked about, because that is where 6 years in a concentration camp, in being being put in a mindset after something like that happened, that it was your fault on what you did.
Right.
Those are things that the organization did. Those aren't things that Ronnie did.
Yes, exactly. This is the corruption and the perversion that's built into the organization by virtue of the countless policies that they operate on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I got like a million examples of that.
Yeah.
Injustice in Scientology is just so prevalent.
It's rampant.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot for somebody to bring their story forward, especially it's a lot for somebody to bring their story forward with a method of having it to be confidential, which is normally what happens in an organization when you have some sort of sexual abuse or sexual harassment that occurs in any corporation.
Yeah.
As a for instance, and again, this is just my personal reflections as a member of the military on the way the DoD handles this sort of stuff internally, what I've seen during my time there. If this happens and there's a report, you can go to the chaplain, you can go to your boss, you can go to all these sort of things. You can report these things and you're able to either report it as confidential and you can not say who it was, or you can completely make it like an unrestricted reporting and you will be given like a safety. The other person will be separated out from you and there is no retribution. They get all of the information. And if it needs to be actioned by police or whoever, they will 100% do that. And they just like, they handle it extremely aggressively, but not towards the victim.
Right.
There's a zero tolerance, but that victim is 100% like protected.
Right.
And given the help they need.
Yes.
Period.
That's amazing. I mean, it almost makes me cry.
Yeah, I know.
Really, that there's somebody that really cares and can see, anyway. And there's all kinds of battered women shelters and all these different things that they believe you. Tell your story, get the help that you need. There are people who care.
Yeah.
But Scientology isn't it. That's for sure. If you want sympathy, if you want help, if you want true, compassion, it's not going to be found in the cult of Scientology at all. The opposite is instead they spent 10.5 years of her life punishing her for that. Right. 10.5 years, 4.5 there, point, and then.
Yeah. At that point. So just put yourself in the frame of mind of you went through all of this, like abuse from the church that you were relying on in order to provide you your spiritual salvation. This is going to make you like, this is the sort of indoctrination that is akin to like what people deal with when they're in North Korea.
Right.
So she goes through all this. And then as soon as she's a senior citizen, like now they'll start harvesting her like money that comes from her. Does this not seem like I think it's literally the organization is so corrupt that they just couldn't help themselves, but it almost seems intentional. It's almost like, can we manipulate this thing this far? And then this happens. When you line it all up, you're like, good God.
Right.
So,
anyway. It's layer upon layer of insidious manipulation. The victim shaming, the victim blaming, the organization protection of the perpetrator, the lack of any justice, the perfusive amount of injustice, and then the organizational structure that keeps that all perpetuating.
Yeah, it's their policy. And thank God Rosemary had you. There are hundreds of people, seniors, still in the Sea organization, apparently like up to 200 that are currently out at the Hacienda that are being kept in the gates there because they can't even go to Dunkin' Donuts, God forbid they get outside of the gates, where they might tell their story or something, but they're captives. And anyway, boy, family have people in there, do welfare checks. That's what I recommend.
Absolutely.
Like just rain it down on them.
So the normal procedures and me using the example of the military's procedures, the corporations all have the same thing. HR is this is the policies that exist. Now, does that mean that it's going to be that all instances are handled properly? No, there's always going to be problems and injustices in the world, no matter which corporation you're talking about, if you're talking about a government or whatever that is. But I'm talking about what exists in terms of like, what is the process for dealing with this? Is there a process in place that has anything to do with how you would be able to, can a person come forth with with at least with the process being able to say, hey, can I come forth and say, hey, I have a complaint, this happened to me, and for it to be taken seriously. So there's no policy that exists in Scientology or in the Sea organization in order to promote even a shred of safety for people to be able to report things of this nature. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So whether a corporation or an organization does it right or wrong, the thing that I'm looking at is does it at least have a plan of action? Like this, you would think when they go through their estates project force and their EPF, their indoctrination, okay, well, what does that teach you about what the rules of the organization are? How do you handle workplace disputes? How do you handle sexual assault and sexual violence? That doesn't exist. You get to listen to Hubbard talking about like how to do fire drills on the Apollo. Like that doesn't have, that's not going to help.
And how to clean windows. Yep.
Yeah. Super. And then you get to, the ethics course and like the introduction to Scientology ethics, where you learn that, hey, if you don't do things our way, we're going to declare you a suppressive person. Let's indoctrinate that early and often. And we're going to tell you, you'll never be a victim. No, there's something empowering about the idea of like, hey, if you can be cause on everything in your life and you're not going to be a victim, that's a good thing. And that could be a good thing as long as you have agency and the freedom with which to exercise those things. And for you to say, no, I don't want that. Like, okay, then you have the ability to do those things. If you don't have those things and you're just saying, hey, you have to be cause all the time and you can never be a victim. All that is that's literally entrapment. It's horrible.
Well, they have security guards that like grab you by each arm and drag you off to the rehabilitation project force. I was 16 years old when that happened, and at 14 years old, after a rape, I'm made to do lower conditions, and the person was never reported and went on to continue that pattern of operation. Anyway, it's something that fires me up to no end, is the injustice and the criminality that goes on. And anyway, we got to get the authorities really taking action. And I'm glad that you have some action going on that too. Go ahead and keep going. I'm sorry. I just like,
no, it's
some steam is just like coming out this way and this way. And
yeah, I know.
So us talking about all this, it's I do think it's very brave for her to be able to share this story, and for her, she'll get very winded, and it's a lot for her to do this, and then to be able to talk for any length of time is just very it's very hard. So what we are planning on doing is we'll do some little small recordings, and then I'll probably edit those up and then present them on my channel, and maybe even do live so that people can ask some questions about that, and I can go over just little pieces and parts as we have time to, and as we're kind of going through these things. So I wanted to get to why is it that, we're making, kind of keeping this momentum, or trying to, share this story and keep it going. As I've said before on the other videos that we've done, Rosemary is an example of what a lot of people are still enduring while they're back there. And they're working for the Sea Organization in its various bases around the world. Mainly in their big continental units, probably the Flagland base and down in Los Angeles are probably the largest concentrations of these people. I do assume that in Europe, they probably in Copenhagen, they probably have a decent amount of old people, and then probably as well in England. So those are areas of concern. But Rosemary and I feel very fortunate that we had everything line up the way that it did, even though it was through a very unfortunate circumstances, where we've been able to get her out of there. And that was something that I never thought would happen. And it's also very unique that it did. And it's, I know a lot of my friends and, fellow cadets where we grew up together, their parents aren't out. Like Sterling's father isn't out, his stepmom isn't out. Laura's parents are not out. They're still in there. And, Catherine Spallino, Liz Ferris, the list goes on and on and on. We're talking, these people are now seniors, and quite literally, even if it just meant like, I'm not advocating for the abolishment of Scientology, although I think it is very destructive. But if they just would have the humanity of saying, hey, we are a group that is able to communicate with anybody about anything at any time, the way that we say we can. Everyone's entitled to their own viewpoints. Families do this all the time. Just in the normal world, you'll have differences in people's opinion. Like Rosemary's got a big family. Like they have Catholics, atheists, Christians, like all sorts of stuff in there. Like family reunions are kind of a dumpster fire, but everyone still loves each other. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just the way that it goes.
Right.
So Scientology let itself have the same level of scrutiny as everybody else and just be? So most of the people, when Rosemary was in, as long as she would have been happy, I was fine on her being there. And I thought she was. And I then slowly found out, like, oh my God, like you have been like, what I thought was okay. I felt furious with myself, is like, how could I be so stupid as to assume she was happy and being taken care of? Anyway, I'll work through that. And, we've had a lot of very hard conversations both directions on that. But I want for those people whose families they aren't in contact with, to include Claire and Mark and everybody who has been speaking out, Mike Rinder. Like, shit, I grew up with Benjamin and Taryn.
Right.
Benjamin, and I knew these people, and now they've weaponized Mike's daughter against him with this, fake ass, justice for mom thing. I'm like, okay, well, if you have some details, I'd love to sit down and talk with you about it, Taryn.
Yes,
because
me too.
I have some details about, justice for mom on my side, when I'd like to talk to Taryn about justice for mom on hers. But you're never going to get Taryn alone without a bunch of handlers. She's literally just being a puppet for them. And it's unfortunate because I know her, and I'm not going to go there, but I want, if even just one family is able to reconnect with their sons, daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, that's what I want. So if us sharing this and making a stink out of it, and I will keep making a stink out of it, will do anything to help at least one person or keep this going, that's why we're sharing it, and that's what we want to do.
Yes, absolutely. And as you know, we have some amazing things in the works to keep shining a very bright light on this topic, because yes, I think it's very fair to say that disconnection is in probably the top 5 most destructive, evil, and just downright wrong practices of Scientology. And it's all about control and leverage. It is not a choice.
Mhm.
It's something that they force on these people, and it is not okay.
Well, absolutely true. So I know that's a lot, and it was a little bit heavy, but I'm trying to at least bring it up a little bit. I'm not nearly as upbeat as Sterling. He does such a good job at being like all happy and giggly and stuff. Like, hey, that's just Sterling. If you want a happy like end to this, like that's my boy right there. No, but
well, I mean, it's not a bubbly subject, and it's got to be said, and
Yes, it
and you're
does.
doing a wonderful job of that, by the way.
Thank you.
Very wonderful job, and giving the whole clear picture, and tugging all our heartstrings at the same time, because I highlighted a couple of these comments and stuff about the elder abuse and everything, and it's a strong button in society, if you want to call it a button, because these people have gone through their whole life, a hard life, and they need to be cherished and taken care of. Like a baby comes in the world, they're taken care of, and at the other end, seniors need to be taken care of. And so abusing that is just seriously off limits, man. And that's being done with abandon in Scientology. So every single light that we can shine on that, we need to shine it big and bright, and we need to get the authorities active on it as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I 100%.
I mean, I don't know.
Completely.
Justice. That's if I had one thing that drove me just around the bend, it would be injustice, because it's not fair. It's not fair. Your mom's heart she's such a lovely person. She was always working so hard and right there, and always with a good smile on her face and chipper. And I wanted to be like that,
Well,
Don't go there.
the conversation that tomorrow I'm gonna be on with Mitch, and we're gonna talk about that. We were like, well, what should we name it? I'm like, well, why don't we call it How I Met Your Mom?
That's great. I love that. That's amazing.
So we're gonna be on there, but Rosemary took care of him and Danny Sherman when she was that VIP housekeeper. Down at the G units is what they called it, the G's, which is, I think, was the gardening houses, or the name, whatever. It was the G's.
I don't know why it was called G's.
I think it was the groundskeepers thing, and then they renovated it and added a bunch of buildings. Mark might know that better, but Mitch made a comment, and we're going to talk about it some tomorrow. He's like, Rosemary was one of the people that was just so good natured. She made the crazy seem tolerable, because like, hey, she's here and she's happy. Like she always have a smile on her face. And he's like, well, always in the back of your mind, you have that thought of like, because no one ever talks to each other, like that whole snitch culture. So you just keep it in. You're thinking like, I must be the only one having these thoughts. But when they take these very caring people and they put them on the lines that integrate with celebrities, and Amy, you probably saw this from your time in Celebrity Center, those people are able to kind of cultivate a state of calm within that organization to make the things that are out of shape seem more normal and kind of keep you away from thinking like this is batshit crazy. So, and I don't think that was ever my mom's intent. She just wanted to work really hard, and she's just always happy to take care of people. She's someone who legitimately likes taking care of other people, but I think they use people like that to their advantage.
Yeah, and the stated purpose of Scientology couldn't be more grand, a world without insanity where the able can prosper and honest beings have rights. You want to see that for people.
And man is free to rise to greater heights.
To greater heights.
Are the aims of Scientology.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And now our focus is man is free to leave Scientology whenever he or she chooses to do so, is the aims of this community right here.
and live out there. Aftermathfoundation.org.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think we should do a couple giveaways here.
Okay, sounds good.
At this. Yes. Okay. So let me go.
Oh, we can. Mike, you're able to star comments, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'm right here in the comments. I'm seeing them as they pop up.
Nice.
So do I just click on one?
Yeah, I'm going to nominate you to do the first giveaway. So the first giveaway will be a signed copy of Mark's book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology. And so, Mike, when you see the book comments start flying, feel free to just, let it get going for a minute, do a countdown, and then pick a winner.
Yeah, I can see it starting to pick up right now. So I guess that they'll either say book me or something like that. And then I'm going to do a countdown and choose one.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Jenny H., congratulations. You win.
Woo-hoo.
Please send me an email, claire@blownforgood.com, with your address, and I will get you that book. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for being a helper there.
Yeah.
I don't have the crazy Aaron thing, so I'll just.
I know. I don't either. I haven't figured that out.
I don't know why.
I know.
Yeah,
I think he has the big Pimp Daddy expensive version. That's why.
I don't think he does, though. He was talking about the equipment he has and uses, and it's very similar. It's a FaceTime. It's a FaceTime feature.
Oh, it's a FaceTime feature.
It's a FaceTime feature. So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't solved that mystery yet, and frankly, it's not really on my priority list.
Yeah, we have some other burning concerns.
It is cool, but yeah.
Yeah. If I gave you my list, I'm sure yours is the same way. If we compared notes as to what we did today, yeah, none of that was going to be about.
It's not making fireworks.
No.
Awesome.
That's all good. But congratulations, Jenny H.
Yeah. So they know what to do. You said already, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and get into the chat myself here. Look at all these little things. Okay. So now 5. Oh yeah. So if you want my book, I just caught up, which is really good. I was going back through trying to highlight comments, because when Mike was talking, I was not wanting to not listen intently, but passing up your questions too. Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, look, at some people want my book. So I'm going to pick you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Oh, Susie Q. So just send me a message at amy@scobie-publishing.com, and I'll send you a book. Yay. Congratulations.
Awesome.
That's good. And by the way, Dr. X made a donation for me to give away 5 books. I'll be using that for this. So thank you, Dr. X, if you are watching from Australia.
What an amazing person.
Yeah.
Amazing
Yeah.
supporter.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
We were talking about her yesterday. No, that's okay.
How do I undo it? It went by so fast. Here we go. Yes. Yeah. I heard you. And that's, that she had done donations for you guys too, to do book giveaways and everything. So that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Is there anything? So Mike, wow, there's all these different questions that I have. Should we get into other things, or should we go into comments?
We can do whatever you'd like. I'm
okay.
available as
what about you, Claire?
Like
are you freaking out about anything?
No,
okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good for another 30 minutes. So if we do a couple of questions and then some Q&A, does that work for you, Mike?
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, I was just going to ask you about your time at the Int Base. And so how old you were when you finally went from the ranch over to the Int Base?
So I was probably around 19, maybe 20 years old. I was I wanted to actually leave the Int Ranch when I was 15 and a half, and I wasn't allowed to, and I was pretty much locked down, similar to I was put on the decks and made to want to stay. And by the time I was about 18 years old with not much education, and I did. But it was about 18 or 19.
For 4 years, they locked you down at the Int Ranch?
So it was really for the better part of 2. And then they kind of worked me over, and then meaning like, hey, okay, I guess I'll stay. I had gotten, interested in my ex-wife, Samantha. Like Claire knows how that is, dating in this organization. It's like, hey, I kind of like you. Okay, you kind of like me too. Great. Should we get married?
Let's get married.
There needs to be a different word for than dating, because I think it gives people this impression like, we agreed to date. What does that mean? That means we agreed that we like each other, and that's about it. And the sooner we get married, the less chance of going to the rehabilitation project force. Yes. No dinners, no outings.
You go to the RPF if you try anything like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
But when I ended up getting moved to the base is remember when they did the studio renovations, Studio 1 and Studio 2?
Yes.
And we did that, which was a nightmare.
Yes.
Like that's the first time when I was really getting good at all-nighters, is during those studio renovations. Shortly after that, Golden Era Productions had done a reorganization. And I was then moved I was gotten through my Int clearances and was made Steve Willett's organizing officer in estates. And that is probably, I have some notes on which years and stuff, but it was probably when I was 19 or 20 years old when I actually got onto the property. But we moved up to the Int Ranch when I was about 12, 13 years old.
And so may I ask a question? So so for the 2 years, so you were 15 to 17, really not wanting to be there. So who was handling you, and what did that look like? Like what kind of program?
I was assigned.
Yeah.
So I was assigned under security. I had gone on a trip with my father because my father was a public Scientologist at the time. Now he's a good old fashioned declared SP. So good for him.
Yes.
But at the time, I wanted to leave. I was 15 and a half, and I was supposed to go and handle my father so I didn't have to visit him, and I could go and, work at the base like everyone else. All my friends like, Sterling and other guys were already going, and why wasn't I going? So that was supposed to be the fix. And I decided like, hey, I want to leave, but I didn't want to just blow because I wanted to be able to talk to my mother. So I went back with the intention of, I want to come back. I want to route out properly so that I can still be in contact with my mother. And I think it's because she worked on executive lines in exec strata and taking care of WDC and IMEC. Basically people like Amy when she was in those positions, and Mike Rinder and Ronnie Miscavige, that it was like, we'll handle your son so that it's not a distraction for you. So it's not a distraction for executives.
Right.
So my program consisted of very heavy manual labor, like digging ditches in the California sun that should have been being dug by backhoes for water mains. I was separated away from all the other kids, and I was just in trouble. So I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody because you can't spread,
Wow.
the whole like you want to leave thing, because that's bad news.
Mhm.
Leaving and leaves is a policy they have where you're not even allowed to tell somebody you don't want to be there.
Right.
Again,
Mhm.
that's how bad it is. You can't even tell somebody like,
Yep.
hey, this place sucks, I want to leave, or just, hey, I plan on going and living somewhere else. You can't even phrase it nicely.
Yeah. You can't
Yeah.
even, if somebody even asked you, why are you doing heavy manual labor? You can't even answer the
I'm just in
question
trouble.
without it
Yeah, I'm
being
on
a
the decks.
suppressive act that
Right.
gets you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Can't even talk. Like freedom of speech is
It's
ignored.
and
Um,
information control, because if
mhm,
you have the information, your mind can you can think with things and make
right,
actual decisions. But if all the information is being withheld from someone, they can't make an actual sane decision on anything. I learned that.
right. So my auditing program, which I thought I was just going to go back and get through a leaving sec check, they put me on the Int rundown, and I was on the Int rundown
Eh.
for over a year. And every time I would be taken in
Oh,
session, they're asking you questions. It's about like you like as a spiritual being wanting to having trouble leaving and like getting then stuck in your head kind
yeah,
of thing. So here I
yeah.
am wanting to leave. They're taking me in these auditing sessions and going over these lists of like, hey, going in, went in, pushed in, put in, want to go in, kicked out of spaces, being
You know
trapped.
'em by
And I'm
heart.
like, I want to fucking
Want to
leave.
get out,
Like, I
can't
don't know
get
what to tell
out.
you.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
and
of
yeah,
the
Claire,
above.
oh, it's shitty. So you're like, can you recall a time where you couldn't, get out? And I'm like this fucking
Yes.
place? Like, I want to leave.
Like today,
So,
yesterday, the day before that, the day
so
Oh
before that.
meanwhile,
God. It's
meanwhile,
torture. It's mental torture.
yeah. But these should have been my high school years where I was like learning, like getting
Oh,
an education. So the last formal education I got was before my mother took me to Los Angeles to join the Sea Organization, which was the 5th grade. So on my own, I've kind of studied things and I've gotten my own GED. And I had that when I was basically, about 18, 19 years old.
So wait,
But
sorry.
we weren't well educated.
So, but you got the GED while you were at the ranch?
So this is after I had decided to stay.
Okay.
Remember they had the miners would go out on Saturdays in order to go do their school, and everyone would just go out there and mess around and read a novel and hang out.
Yeah,
Well,
I was able to go out there twice for that.
okay, so they would have a van every so often that was like taking people to go and bring them to do like the dropout test to get a G. I don't even know if it's a official GED, but it's the equivalency diploma. So I was like, hey, I really want to go and get that. And I hadn't studied much for it. I had done a little bit on my own. And I was like, I want to just go take the test because I wanted to feel like I wasn't an idiot.
right.
So I went and I took it and I passed it, which that's great and all, but I don't feel like we got a well-rounded education.
No,
It was in
and
spite of that.
No.
right. So was that in Hemet or you went to LA or?
It was probably somewhere in San Bernardino. I don't know
Okay.
exactly where. It wasn't all the way in LA, but it was like one of these testing facilities that they did at a school on the weekend for kids that wanted to take their GED
I
early
see.
in order
Yeah.
to drop out of high school, and that's what that was for.
Okay. Yeah, because even by ranch standards, if I'm not mistaken, you were in a very small percentage of people that even took that test, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
Yeah.
because it wasn't made as a mandatory thing. I
Right.
wanted it because in the back of my mind, I always was like, "There's a world out there. I might need to sneak out to it someday." So I was like, "I at least need this much." I'm kind of glad
Yes.
I did.
I'm glad you did.
Did
Holy
you get a
moly.
GED?
Me?
Claire, did you ever get it? Yeah.
No, I was
Me
studying
either.
for the GED when I was in LA. I mean, we'll get off on a tangent, but when my family moved to the US when I was 13, they never put me back in school. So I was
Yeah.
doing homeschool where I would go to the library and study and write essays by myself, just reading the encyclopedia about Ferdinand Magellan and Christopher Columbus. So
Mhm.
yeah, give me a break when I can't say Saskatchewan, right?
So
Come on now. Saskatchewan. Anyway, yeah. So, but then, and my mom actually was like adamant that she wanted me to get a high school diploma, but then she wouldn't help me fend off the recruiters. So, and of course, as always happens, the recruiters for the Sea Organization make endless promises about all
Oh,
the
yeah.
things. And
You're going to go to school?
you're going to go to school. We're going to help you get your GED and you're going to become a class 12 auditor and you're going to be operating Thetan level 8, and your parents are going to be so proud of you. And if you don't join tomorrow, you're going to be in lower conditions, and your parents
Yeah.
are going to be super evil. So those are your
And you're going to
choices.
get old, and we're going to extort money from you eventually.
Yeah, and when you're 16 years old, I mean, like they guilt tripped me into thinking that if I didn't start the next day, Richard Reese, who was a good friend of my dad, would get a
I
committee of
know him.
evidence, and it was like this huge burden on me.
Blackmail.
Yeah.
Your life.
Anyway.
Craziness.
Your life. Yeah. What
All
a
right,
bunch of liars.
What else you got? Something.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So you did the GED.
Yeah.
So one thing
yeah.
mindset wise, I got to tell you. So I went from
Yeah.
like not wanting to be there, and then I was kind of put into a room with Leslie Epstein, Yolanda Avila, and Dan Probelski. They were the ones that are in charge of the ranch, and it was kind of a 2 or 3 hour screaming match about how I needed to stay. And then the thing that kind of broke me down was like, you don't have enough education to be successful if you leave. And that was the
Ew.
button that made me like, shit, they're right. I better stay.
Not like
And
they
they're
could
like,
give it to you though.
it was that, and then they're saying, well, aren't you and Samantha friends? So then playing this emotion off of the girl that that I liked, and then it was just like that feeling, like that whole like flipping burgers thing that they're always putting in front of you, like that is something that's bad. I was thinking like, man, I'm gonna fail if I go out there, like I'm gonna have nothing.
Right.
I'm so far behind. I would never be able to achieve my goals if I didn't leave. So I just decided to stay, and then
they keep you like that. They keep you like that. They got me like that too. 8th grade, maybe I did. At the end of 9th grade, they took me full time, and I never saw another day of school. I never saw high school, not a day, never got a high school education.
Now, I learned a lot of things when I was out there. We did a tremendous amount of construction, and I'm very good at those things. And most of my math and most of like I learned a lot of crafts, like trade skills. And I'm glad that I learned those things, but it's not what I would consider a well-rounded education to be able to follow the career path easily that I eventually did. And I made that happen. But when your brain flips over to like, I'm going to be here, there's no such thing as half there or not. Like you're all or nothing. You have to become a complete zealot, almost an extremist, in order to work in those situations. And that's what I really felt like I became. Like at a flip of a switch is like, I'm all in. You're either all in or not in at all. And I had to go like that into it in order to feel like I was going to make it. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a really good comment. You cannot, there is no half, there's no shades of gray. It's black and white. And that is, I think, a lot of the programming of the world of Scientology is dependent upon you having that black and white perspective. And honestly, I think that's a huge part of why education is so, undermined and frowned upon and minimalized and all of that, because they know that a good education is going to give you important life critical thinking skills that they do not want you to have.
No. They want you easily influenced in order to work as long and as hard as they can work you.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
Yeah. That's why Hubbard said his ideal candidate for messenger is a 6-year-old.
Very easily influenced.
If that's not Nazi youth, I don't know what is.
It's pretty bad.
I didn't know that 6-year-old thing. Oh God. It makes sense though.
Yeah.
What a creep.
Yep.
Well, good. Well, let's go ahead and get on to some comments, because they've been building up. Okay.
Great.
You guys want to do that?
Absolutely.
Yes,
for
very
sure.
definitely.
Okay. So I'll be clicking and you be reading. Okay.
Okay. Bota 29. Mike, you should bring Rosemary to Longwood Gardens or Hershey for Christmas lights this year. They're both beautiful. P.S. Hi, Rosemary.
We absolutely will. We get season passes to Hershey Gardens, and we've taken her there a couple of times already. So yes, good time.
Oh,
nice.
Little outings when she can deal with it. Oh yeah, it's
amazing.
A good time.
Yeah, nice.
Japan of Green Gables. Question: did Scientology in Florida ever really expand out from Clearwater into places like Pasco County? I used to live in Newport Richey as a little kid. Curious if there are Scientologists there.
Well, I live in Port Richey and I haven't run into anybody.
Nice.
Matt drives Uber and he, drives them all around, but they're mainly down there in the Clearwater area.
Yep. And Dunedin,
They
I think.
congregate down there. Dunedin, a little bit. Yeah.
Marilyn Honig, Coffee, Cults, and Crafts. Hey, Marilyn, Mike, Amy, and
Marilyn.
Claire. Thank you so much for bringing us Rosemary's story. She inspired my husband to start a petition to spread awareness of the abuses of Scientology. 1,320 signatures so far. Boom.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Oh, bless
Marilyn
his heart
and
and your heart.
Duncan. I
So
think
good.
Duncan.
Yeah,
Marilyn.
your husband.
Yeah, I'm sure I have his name right. I signed. Thank you so much for doing that.
As did I.
Good.
Perfect.
Yes. Bless your heart. Yeah.
Danielle Chamberlain. Hey guys, I'll be bankrupt at this rate. I have John Atack's book, Russell Miller's, Mark Headley's, Janice 2, and now Amy's. Yay. Thank you, Danielle. Don't go bankrupt though. Please don't. Please don't
forget about Mike's book.
Yes. And Leah, Troublemaker.
And Leah, and we got 2 more coming from my house.
John Zatowski in the house. And you thought I was being gross about Uranus. Yes, we did. I'm sorry. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Or its fudge.
Or the fudge. Jen Nelson, for all 3 of you and the others, I hope you realize that hearing the good stories really makes some bad things almost bearable. Thank you. Thank you, Jen.
Awesome.
Yep. Thank you.
Abigail S. Mike, the videos on the StreamYard YouTube channel will help you as you set up your channel, and you can ask questions on their live streams. Yes, great.
Yeah, comment. I've been picking away at those. It's just it's a lot of things all at once. When you kind of dive into the deep end, which is what I felt like I'm doing, it's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm like, but I'm fairly tech savvy. It's just learning a lot all at once, but I'll get there. I promise.
Yes. No, you're doing an amazing job. I mean, you literally did dive in. So yes.
And you got all these subscribers with eyeballs on you, ready to roll.
Yes. Susie Q, I literally just received my fake Navy elf doll. Yay! Heather B. SPTV coloring books need to exist now. There you go.
So I have an idea on this, Claire, that I'll let you know. Rosemary's a very good artist, and she likes to sometimes do line drawings and not color them all in. So maybe we could either do a calendar or I know we're thinking of doing some of her art, but maybe that would be fun too.
That sounds amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing.
You wouldn't believe how many coloring pens and pencils and everything I have, like an entire cabinet full. I love it.
Nice.
Okay.
That's awesome.
When I was a little kid, my favorite thing to do was color.
Oh, nice. Code Monkey. I just got a fractured tooth removed, but would rather go through that than to be in the Sea Org. How do Sea Org members get dental care? Looking at LRH dental care does not seem to be a priority. Oh boy, is that an understatement.
So this kind of like, dude who couldn't really make it as a dentist in the real world, that was like the in-house dentist up at the international base. And some of his dental works had to be redone. Like I remember I got something done and I came out, and then when I'm in, the civilian world, they're like, who did this filling? Like, we need to redo this immediately.
Yeah.
But I don't know what goes on, like in terms of pack or flag. Like, do you just either not get it, or do they have what do they do?
Yeah, no. So
I think if you have an emergency, right?
No, I know the answer to that. So Bob Horn was the dentist at the headquarters where we worked. And by the way, Mike, I had the exact same scenario.
Me too.
Where they were like, what the heck happened in here? What is that? And this is not what normal dentistry looks like. But there was a dentist at the HGB, this really, really old gentleman. I can't remember his name, but I'll find that, because it was like Wally or something like that. Anyway, and then there was a dentist at Flag too. And really, the sad part about it is that these were not good dentists. It was really a logistical aspect of keeping staff contained on their properties. Not with no importance. There was no importance placed on, proper dental care, routine checkups, any of that. It was literally like, the dentists were only dealing with dental emergencies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
wait
well,
for it to get
it
bad.
cost me $6,000 to fix what he did to my teeth. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
crazy.
it's not good.
Maybe it was. Oh no, I said that. Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry, I was having.
Whoops, I just deleted it. Go ahead.
It was just saying hello, Simone. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Right? Yeah, Tarkina Meyer.
Yes.
But Claire, your updates at your IES event will be actual results and not faked, embellished events. Good to see you all here, and I love the bucket hat. Oh wow, she might have gotten a. I hope you got a Claire Bear bucket hat. Here, I can go grab it real quick. You want to see?
Yeah, yeah.
I
What
would
is
That's what
that?
she's talking about. Hold
Absolutely.
on.
Love the bucket hat. Okay, let's
The
check it
bucket
out.
hat.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. We're gonna find out. There she is.
Sorry about that. I should have been. If this is what you're talking about, then this is the bucket hat.
Does it say
See?
Claire Bear on it?
Yeah, it does. See?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And
That's actually really a cool design.
And it's reversible. So on the other side, it's
Nice.
it's got the SPTV logo. There you go. Now I've got hat hair for
cool.
you. Anyway, thank you, Tarkina Meyer.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And yes, we are so going to have amazing updates. I'm really, really, really stoked. We're going to have so much to talk about that we're not even going to get to the amazing clips, IES clips we've put together. But anyway, all right, Kimberly Stovall. My kitty, Bill in that cottage, fell asleep after kicking the dorky Davy doll in the head over and over. Bill loves his fake Navy Davy. Oh my gosh. Lori Plays. If any of you have a pic or pics of yourselves with Mike Rinder, I'd love to get a copy for a video project. Claire messaged you on Facebook. Okay, awesome. I will look at your message. Thank you.
Good.
Kimberly Stovall again at Amy Scobie. There are enough channels that are streaming and you are allowed to have downtime. There you go. Exactly. Exactly.
I
Thank
starred
you,
that one.
Kimberly.
Thank you so much, Kimberly.
Yes. Yes. Laura Estrada. I reflect on my 80-year-old mother during these stories, and I can't even imagine her going through that hell. Such injustice.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know why my light is doing that? Because
Why?
Matt's walking around the back and it's adjusting to try to light him up. And so that I get lit up like a Christmas tree.
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
sit down, Matt.
Working on your tan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, we read that one, right? Okay.
Yes.
Next.
Shelley, can we talk about Erin reading her letter and making us cry? My feels are still on fire. Oh my gosh. I know. That was... I mean, Rosemary, of course, we're talking about Rosemary's letter that she sent to David Miscavige and Tom Cruise. And that was such a powerful, powerful letter. Amazingly well done. And yes, Aaron's reading of it. I mean, hats off to him. I couldn't have pulled off what he pulled off.
Yeah, he did it justice. And I know that it's such a hot topic for people because it's dealing, like the things that she writes about in there weren't necessarily like, she's asking for change for the people that are still there.
That's right.
And for families that are separated, I know that Aaron's like, and Aaron doesn't really share his story and, very much in his stuff, although it's, kind of become, public knowledge at this point, but his family was decimated by this whole disconnection thing. So for him to work through that, I very much appreciate it. And I feel like he did it justice. So it very much appreciated that he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that I know that disconnection also is such a burden. You kind of touched on it earlier, Mike, about the guilt that is erroneously programmed in relation to Scientology and the stifling of your voice and the muzzling and silencing of the victims of Scientology. I know I've had that. I had to work through that with a therapist, and it really is something that it's mind-boggling when you can look at it from the outside and go, wow, why would I feel guilt about saying what happened to me? And you kind of have this misguided thought that you're, that you're doing something wrong, and it's not. And there are so many people even now that don't speak out, understandably, because they know their loved ones still in will receive retribution and punishment. And that's really, really hard. And that's why I personally do not judge or, prod anyone into speaking out who's not ready to do so. It's a huge burden to take on. And it's a lot of trauma that gets stirred up. It's a lot of, but I will say that for me personally, working through all of that has been incredibly empowering.
Absolutely. I think that people that are in that situation, a reaction of guilt is something that they're going to experience anyway as a defense mechanism, regardless of Scientology doubling down on it and making them like internalize it so terribly bad, not providing them the actual help that they need. I want to mention this, Claire, because Jen and I have talked. I have a cousin who's a social worker, and she's also got her degree in psychology, and Rosemary's niece. And we're going to do probably an interesting video. Claire, Jen, and we're all going to get on together, and Claire from the perspective of a very high trained auditor, and Jen from a perspective as a counselor social worker, the way you would deal with certain aspects of mental health care as people deal with certain things in life. What would be the Scientology approach to that? And then what would be one from a professional healthcare provider?
Yes. I love that. Are you kidding?
I'm so excited. I really am. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. And
I have a feeling Jen's going to be like, wait, what?
Oh, that's going to be very revealing, but I can't wait to hear her side. I know what Scientology's side is.
I may actually have already gotten a message from her, Mike. I forgot to mention that.
So we're just at the point making sure she's all set up on sound and making sure everything's good on her setup, and then we just have to get all of our schedules to align. And that's
and
be
sorry,
a lot of fun.
I should have clarified. I think I already got a message from her, not about the live that we're going to do, but just about Rosemary.
Yeah,
which was amazing.
Yeah,
anyway.
Jen is the one who initially, like, what's funny is Jen is about the nicest person that you'll ever meet, and was actually the one who helped get Rosemary set up to have healthcare benefits when she turned 65 and to start getting her Social Security payments. And then Scientology started taking those things. So Jen was there trying to help her because I wasn't able to talk to her. And you would never imagine, because Jen's a social worker, whenever Rosemary would get sick, who Scientology would make her find as an item on why she could be PTS.
Was Jen?
Jen. Yeah,
oh
like Jen's
like, come on.
So they're like, well, you have a niece that's a psychologist. Like, Jen helps like disadvantaged children. Like, Anyway, this is going to be fascinating when we do it. I'm super excited.
I cannot wait.
I am too.
And then all of my other cousins, who aren't Jen are going to be all butthurt. They're like, you think Jen's your favorite now? I'm like, Levi, Allison, I love all of you.
Anyway. Yeah, no, we can do a live with all of them. But the thing with the debunking, like therapy versus auditing, will be absolutely amazing.
That's going to be fun. Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
That's so awesome. Somebody says that I'm delayed or something. I don't look delayed on here. Do I look delayed to you?
I just noticed that I thought I was having an audio delay because I think I know what they're talking about. I'm just not sure what the cause of it is. I think it's an audio related delay.
Oh, okay.
You guys look good coming through right now. I have a feeling like we're all in different time zones. There's a little bit of a lag on some of those things coming through, and I think it kind of catches itself up as we go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good answer, Mike. We'll take that.
Yeah. That's what it is.
There you go. All right. George Massey. Rosemary is a kick-ass grandma. So much love and respect for her from the SPTV community. We love Rosemary. Yes,
she absolutely is.
We do. Mathieu Etienne Dumais. Suggestion, you guys should do some military hook and loop in the merch zone, please. I'll buy them all.
So
what does that mean, hook and loop?
So that's for all of you civilian types, that's called Velcro. So you can't actually use that. That's a trademark name, Velcro. So they call it hook and pile or hook and loop in the but they're talking about the little patches that people like stick on their hats and like on their stuff. Like she's talking about Velcro SPTV merch. That's actually
nice.
a good idea. Yeah, you can get
Nice.
patches and stuff made. It'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, we're gonna get Mike's merch store set up because that belongs
What am I
in
gonna do?
Mike's merch store. Start sending Mike
Yes.
designs. There you go. Denver Stevo in the house. I appreciate you, Amy, Claire, and Mike. I hope you are playing right now. Yes, we
This
are.
is
Yeah.
fun.
Yes, we
Yes.
are. Yes.
Candy's Life at Amy Scobie. You should have been sent to the RPF's RPF.
I would have been sent, but no.
Right.
Denver
I spent
Stevo
enough time in
again.
the RPF's RPF.
Yeah, exactly. No thanks. Amy, Claire, Mike, Rosemary, superheroes, one and all. Coincidentally, join Denver Stevo tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the premiere of an all-new SPTV series, Origin Stories. Mitch Brisker. Nice.
Fun.
Good.
Nice.
I like it. Look at Denver Stevo's got a new little moniker there.
Oh yeah,
Is
it's
that a
Xenu.
Little
Yeah.
Xeno
Yeah,
action with
a
a
little
captain's
Xenu.
hat on.
Yeah.
Xenu
nice.
action.
Very nice. Goldie, protest Scientology at the Celebrity Center in LA, 5390 Franklin Avenue on October 21st, 2023 from 1 to 4 p.m. Aaron will be there. Wow. Okay, then.
Yes.
Awesome.
I had
And I
not
know
heard
Liz
of
is
that.
going to be
Be there.
there. Laura FM will be there. I think Nora is going to be there. Man, I would if I could, but I will definitely be there on the live stream with all my input. Celebrity Center International covering up crimes against humanity.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
FYT 54321. Fight 54321. SPTV is amazing. So many channels, each channel improving in production and technical quality. Always fresh, interesting content. Just so great to see this expanding network of channels succeeding. Yes, I'm very grateful to everyone who has lended their voices to this effort. I'm grateful to Aaron for kind of having this, like none of us were like, we've already told our stories. And then, Aaron always says, and Mark says it now too, the internet has no memory. And so therefore, today is the day you can tell your story.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the
that's
creators,
why
you guys, you talk about like, that's why if I only tell the story one time, I might as well not tell it. Like,
Right.
And that's not true. Like I should, it should be told, but it needs to be reiterated. And there's a lot of new people that are on seeing these things for the first time, and then they'll like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
And then they'll look into it. So I'm going to keep the heat on until we get the change that we had talked about.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yes.
And the long format content and the kind of cross-pollination of people and perspectives just brings out so many different nuances and layers and perspectives that is frankly really refreshing. And, because even as we all know, any one of us who has participated in one or many documentaries or shows, so much of what you do and say ends up on the editing room floor. So, and I think it's important that people see just in this format and know who we are and what our experiences are. And it's just a very different format that has its own power in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nothing gets cut unless we edit it out
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah,
And if you want it
I'm not
faster,
going to
just-
ask Mark to edit anything out unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah, and just speed it up. Go on 2x because Claire and Amy's giggles are really funny on twice the normal speed.
Oh, I gotta check that out. Oh,
I know,
my God.
Aaron. I heard Aaron say that once, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
It's like chipmunks.
And I
you're like,
listen is like, that's probably even funnier now.
Anyway, yeah, it's good stuff.
Sarah Wynn, I'm so glad that Mike is having his voice heard on SPTV Network. I can't wait for him to do more videos, lives on his channel. Yeah, aren't you going to do a series with Mark as well, Mike?
Yeah, we had talked about it. So I know Mark and Mitch are doing the Mark and Mitch Make a Movie. Well, Mark and I were both in manufacturing, so it might be something like, Mark and Mike make a shitty e-meter or something like that. So, but
Yeah, there
we
you go.
both worked in, we have a lot of time together in manufacturing, so we'll have to definitely do that.
Nice.
I was the circuit board assembly in charge in HEM, Hubbard
yeah.
Electropsychometer. Did you know that I did that job?
Yeah, I saw
circuit
that
board?
on some of your channel. Yeah, and I was plastics IC before I was in charge of the print shop, so good times.
Oh, good times, good times.
All right, George Massey. Mike is so articulate and such a powerful advocate for his amazing mom.
Thank you, George. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to put that up there. It's true.
X Mischief X. Question: can the social services help to get these elderly people out? It's elderly abuse. Yes, we're working on that. If you have loved ones in the SEA organization, especially elder, please do reach out to us or reach out to the Aftermath Foundation. Ask for a welfare check. Demand a mandatory reporter. Be present. Absolutely crucial, that part. And yeah, let's keep exerting the pressure because it needs to happen.
Yes.
Laminia M. Don't feel you need to be happy and bubbly. This is so traumatic. Love you, Mike.
I appreciate that. And this does feel good talking about it. Like, you know, these are things that I haven't necessarily talked through. So we'll get my therapist cousin on to talk about other stuff, but talking to you guys is going to work just fine for me.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. I know. It really helps. And I don't ever cease having new realizations and stripping away things and realizing how different things affected me. It doesn't stop, you know?
Right.
And that's brought about by conversations with people like you guys. Like I had when I watched your military one. I made all these notes of different things that I realized during that. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and we just scratched the surface. So there's more fruit on that tree, no doubt.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, I just want to say too, I think it's also very, very important for anyone to realize that today is a day, tomorrow is a day. It is never too late to change the course of your life. Ever, 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 ever. So
if
don't ever...
If a 76-year-old woman who is on oxygen and needs help to get around is able to get a fresh start and get her life under control, like you can absolutely do the same thing. You don't have to live like shit. There's a world out here and people that are 100% behind helping you.
Yes. And be your own advocate too. We're here to be advocates for people as well. But the most important is you have to be your own advocate first to effectuate change, in my opinion.
100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Naomi Hale's in the house. Question: do you three think that Ben and Taryn get treated better or paid more to keep them in and against Mike?
I would assume that it is in the church's best interest. I don't know it's in their best interest, but whatever scheme they have going, I think that they are trying to weaponize Mike's family against him. That's my opinion. And I know Benjamin and I know Taryn. We grew up together. Both of them are good people. And Benjamin, I have a feeling they're trying to just keep him as happy as possible. It's very easy to keep somebody there. All you have to do is be in love with another person, and you will go through hell in order to remain with that person until you realize that you're living a lie, and you have to almost lose something in order to be able to gain your freedom. That's how it was for me. So that's how I feel it's probably going on with Benjamin. And I just think that Taryn at this point they're just putting her to work for a propaganda machine in order to be spiteful against her father. Like she doesn't have any message that's resonating with anyone. No one really gives a shit what she has to say. They're just doing it to fuck with Mike. And I think it's sick.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, that is what they're doing it for. And I don't think that they're paying her more at all. It's just like your Sea Org duty, and
so she probably really thinks that what she's doing is right. Like if anyone went up and tried to talk to her, like if you ever have a chance to interface with any of these people, you have to do it with kindness and love and, respect Patience. And dignity. And you have to be gracious with them. But you also need to ask them questions that will hopefully get them to think for themselves. But you can't, if you take a hard stance against them, insult them, call them names or anything like that, it'll actually keep them there more.
Yep, that's
so
right.
the only reason why Rosemary was able to get out is because she was able to slowly realize things on her own, and that was unique for her. But we have to figure out another way for others.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I definitely noticed the theme or thread throughout your story and Rosemary telling the story is it was always, if you want, you can see that. Take your time. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So it was a choice. And then so she knew that, I don't have to. I'm not being pushed into it, so I don't have to resist that. There's nothing to push up against. You had nothing, to push up against.
Yeah,
so
asking. You're right. Asking questions with love and acceptance, and no criticism, and because the criticism and the accusations, it literally brings down the steel trap over them, and they will stop receiving input completely.
Yeah. You're trained and programmed that way to shut down. It's thought stopping.
You've been told it's bad out here.
Yes.
The big bad SPs will get you.
Yes. Exactly. D20 Jenny. Mike, if Rosemary has a pulmonary diagnosis, look into a pulmonary outpatient rehab for her. She's such a courageous woman. I want to hear her use her voice for many more years.
Absolutely. Yeah, she does have a pulmonologist. She is getting routine treatment. She has pretty much the best healthcare we can get for her. She just has the problem that she has is something that isn't really treatable. So it's a matter of treating the symptoms more than being able to cure what that is. But she most definitely has a pulmonologist. She sees a pulmonologist frequently, and she has every healthcare need that she's now available to her, and she did not previously. So I'm glad where we're at right now is a good spot.
Yay. Amazing.
Beautiful. Good.
Ember Loon. Question. As a counselor, what can the profession do to aid those transitioning from being in to being out and heal from the trauma and conditioning? Absolutely amazing question. We have so much in the works coming on this. Please feel free, if you are a counselor, please feel free to contact the Aftermath Foundation. We are doing some really amazing projects on that, and we'll cover some of that at our November 4th update.
Awesome.
Yes.
Right, Amy?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yes. All right, Chris 10M. Aaron has the latest Apple update, iOS 17, that gives you all of those cool features. Wait a minute. I thought, whatever, I'm not going to go down this path. Okay, cool. I'll check into it. All right, Tess, question. Mike, would you or your mom ever think about writing a book? Your mom is such an amazing person.
I have some ideas on that, and let's just say to be continued.
Awesome.
But, yes, we have some
I like that.
It's a matter of data collection at this point, and I'm very much doing it.
Nice. Amazing.
Okay.
See, so much good things in the works, folks.
Yes.
Mischief X. Question. Can social services help to get these elderly people out? I suggest that anyone with elderly relatives in the cult should ask for coordinated welfare check all on the same day. Yes, and with a mandatory reporter present as well, in addition.
So one complication that exists with these people is they've been there for so long. Almost think of an animal that has been in a shelter for a tremendous amount of time. They don't understand life outside of that. And I don't want to relate people to animals, but I'm trying to give you an analogy on the mindset of they're almost scared to go outside. Right. They are scared to look into the real world. They don't watch the news. They don't have interaction with normal society. So for them, it's that prison of belief. For these people, they have been there for decades. This is the only life they know. And it's a matter of, that's why I say the calm approach to things, because if it's an aggressive approach, it keeps them there. We have to figure out a way to make it safe for them to come out. And it is a complex problem, and it's not one with an easy solution, but we have to keep trying until we figure out how it's going to best work. So we're going to have to work on it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yep, lots more in the works. PT Bird. Question. If Scientology is charging the Sea Org members for services, does that invalidate the billing year contract? Also, can Sea Org members ask for back pay? Good, solid questions.
It's a solid there. So the whole Sea Org contract is just a bullshit agreement that isn't really binding. They have you sign other legal documents and things that basically get people to sign away their rights to be able to really do much. They're manipulated from the get-go, unfortunately. But for them taking her money while she was a Sea Org member, and they even wrote a letter back to her saying, "Oh, our bad." Once we started like, "Hey, our attorneys are sending you a letter. You need to start doing this." They were terrified of it. So They know they're in the wrong on this. But in terms of back pay and all that, I mean, Claire, you guys dealt with a lot of that crap. They take advantage of their people.
Actually, after our lawsuit is when they changed the agreements that Sea Org members sign to say that they are volunteers. They're volunteers, and they changed to direct deposit and all these other things. That was after our lawsuit in relation to labor law violations, human trafficking, and various other things. So while we lost the lawsuit, it's in the judgment that had we pursued other causes of action, such as false imprisonment, assault and battery, etc., we may have fared differently. And, Scientology has changed things. Not that I trust them further than I could throw them, and but that's where I see the value in continuing to exert pressure, continuing to shine a light, continuing to speak out, because that is the only thing, as Rosemary said in her letter, outside influence and exertion of pressure is the only thing that will ever effectuate a change within that organization.
Absolutely true.
Perfectly said.
Question, Claire, what was your first date with Mark in the normal world after you escaped? Well, the night that I arrived, it wasn't, that's not a date. I wouldn't say that. And then plus anyway, that's going to be in my book. How was that for a cliffhanger?
Oh, now we need to know.
I think we went to the movies, we had no money, and we had no car. So it wasn't like any fancy schmancy dealio, but we were free. So who cares?
Absolutely. Probably the best date ever.
That's a fun
yes. All right. Bonnie L. Bailey. Courtship is a step up from dating with the intention of marriage. Okay. Yeah, that's not the right word for it. We need a word that expresses a step down from dating.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like
transactional.
When my elementary school little girls come home and say, "Dad, I have a boyfriend," and I'm like, "You're 7."
Yes.
It's like we're scared to talk to each other. I mean, that's kind of what it's like dating in the Sea organization.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. No privacy. No,
None.
not anyway. Yeah, we'll have. I'm sure we could do endless talks about that topic
strange.
in and of itself. Yeah, so bizarre. Barb tries. Question for Claire: are you a U.S. citizen, and if so, when did you do that? Yes, I am. And
you are.
Yeah, that's kind of a long story. The short version is, I was told if I moved to the U.S. And lived here for 2 years before I turned 16, that I would automatically qualify for U.S. citizenship. So I was like, sweet. Moved here when I was 13, lived here for 2 years. I got a green card, of course. I got a green card so long ago, in fact, that it did not have an expiration date. So it became this unique antique. But of course, then I was in the Sea organization, and none of my personal effects or paperwork was any kind of priority. So I never submitted it. Then I got out, and I was like, started to have trouble traveling because of my ancient green card, especially after 9/11. And so I finally did the application, and the response came back saying, yes, you did qualify for automatic citizenship. However, you had to apply before you turned 18, which obviously was many, many, many decades ago at this point. Yeah. So I had to start all over from scratch completely. Wow. But the amazing thing, I'll end with this. I became a citizen in August 2019. But in my final interview, one of the questions was, gosh, I should have written it down, but it was something like, have you ever been part of a coercive group? And I said, yes, I was actually in the Sea organization, and I explained the whole thing, because that seemed to me, however the wording of the question was, my answer was yes. And there were 2 agents during my interview, and they said, oh, we watched Leah Remini's Scientology in the Aftermath. I'm like, yes, I was in all 3 seasons of that. They were like, wait, what? Anyway, and I'm like, so am I good?
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was so amazing. Anyway, so yes, I am an American citizen, very proud of that. And in fact, I just got British passports for my kids.
Wow.
Because they can have
fantastic.
dual citizenship. So it seemed like only fitting that I have a British passport and American passport, and so do they. So there you go.
Might as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
good for them.
Yeah.
Mark doesn't though.
No, he does not.
You can stay behind.
Likes to suck.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's what he would say. But just on the Aftermath, wow, far-reaching. I mean,
Yes.
I can't go anywhere without somebody knowing that show and praising it. It's really funny. It doesn't matter where I go or who I talk to, someone's seen that. So
Yes.
that is
Completely.
really, really good.
Yep.
Mhm.
Gary Gunnels, does the Scientology leadership believe in all the claims, etc., of Hubbard, etc.? Are they just grifters or true believers?
They're religious
Well,
extremists in
there you
terms of
go.
their
They're
beliefs.
extremists. Yes.
Like
That's
there
what
is
it is.
no, there is, it is all like, I know in some religions you'll have, you know, varying degrees of religious acceptance and belief and all this. Scientology has one switch and it's all on or not on at all. So
Yeah.
you can't be a
Precisely.
little bit, you have to be completely and 100% dedicated to it. And I know the word extremist is going to, like, it's almost like it paints a picture in people's minds about what that means, especially in this day and age. But Scientologists believe, especially in the management level and the people that work in there, they believe in it utterly. And anything that is said,
Mhm.
any random ass utterance out of L. Ron Hubbard's mouth, and now whatever David Miscavige, you know, spouts out, they just blindly follow it. They will do
Yep.
exactly what
Yep.
they're told. And I think Taryn
Mhm.
is a good example of that. Like she
Yes.
doesn't
It's a
even know what
perfect
she's doing.
example.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. Abigail S., thanks to everyone who's subscribed to Zach's channel. He's all set for his pregnancy and infant loss live stream the weekend of October 20th. Awesome.
That's good news.
Our lawyer
Yep.
friend Zach.
Our
Yay.
lawyer friend
Yep.
Zach. Yep.
Yes. Amber, question. What happened on the ranch if kids got sick? If kids get sick and need care, what happens? You can't ignore a kid with gastro.
Well, you would be put in isolation, and then probably Jenna Miscavige would have brought you vitamins.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So basic.
That's pretty much it.
Like,
You just isolate and then take vitamins until you're out. Once you don't have a fever for 24 hours and you stop crapping your brains out or whatever, then you go back to work.
Yeah. I think I went to the doctor once when I was in the cadet org, and that was because I had chicken pox. And only because I had a really high fever and my mom kind of threw a fit. She was already on her way out of the Sea organization at that point. I was 10. But yeah, no. And then after you're, because you got sick, it's handled with, who are you connected to that doesn't like Scientology?
oh,
Must be that therapist,
Always.
Jen.
Oh my gosh, I hated that as a kid so badly. I was like, why can't I just be sick? Why can't you leave me alone and not ask me introverting and these awful questions? Like, I don't know. I'm 7. I'm 7.
I remember
Why would I
was-
think
I was
somebody's
like-
evil and trying to destroy me?
I remember my first time was, it's called a 10 August because the bulletin about doing this was written on 10 August of some year. So it's called get this person a 10 Aug.
Yeah.
So my first 10 Aug was I came up with, like, who was trying to suppress me. I came up with that my babysitter had fired me as the babysitter. And so that was my who and why or whatever. And anyway, it's just so ridiculous. I had a cold, it's just ridiculous.
It's called your immune system. Anyway.
Yeah. Amber Vaness in the house. Hi, guys. Hi, Amber.
Hey.
Hi, Amber.
It's me, Terry. Question for Mike. Did you fly Apaches in the Army?
So I am not an Apache pilot. I am actually a Chinook pilot. That's the dual rotor, very large helicopter. It's like about the size of an 18-wheeler. It's very, very powerful. I love flying it. Little funny anecdote. So when you're an instructor pilot, then you'll have a senior instructor pilot. we call that a standardization pilot. So I've actually been a standardization pilot for many, many years. And in the Army, they refer to that, in the senior piloting unit is referred to as the SP. So I've been an SP in the Army for about a decade, and I've been an SP as far as Scientology has been concerned for about 20 years. So it's been a hot minute, but I'm an SP in both locations.
Boom. Double
Boom.
SP power in the house.
Pow, pow.
You're a total SP.
Total SP.
Oh, gosh. Well, should we do a final giveaways?
Yes, let's do that. And
Okay,
Mike,
and
I hope we didn't
yeah.
scare you off. I hope you will consider coming back.
Oh, this is fun.
Periodically. We won't
Yeah.
you know, choke up your time, but I'm sure there are so
What
many,
did we scare you off?
things.
This is amazing.
What did
I
we
really
do
am.
to scare them off?
I'm just saying it's okay. If we did, I'll apologize graciously and try to do better next time.
Help me. Someone get me out of here. No, I had a great time.
You'd be
Thank you so
scared
much.
with cute little Claire. Okay. All right. So here we go with the banners. So, okay. Is it going to be a Blown for Good book or what?
Yes. Yeah. Mike, will you do me the honor again, if you don't
Sure.
mind? Okay. Awesome.
All right. So
hold on. Let me get the thing up here.
There we go. Signed
Bam.
copy of Mark's book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology.
All right, let them roll. I'm going to start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Show.
Noble Jacks, book me.
Boom.
Noble Jacks.
And
Good.
Mark just reminded me we have a call in 5 minutes. I completely forgot about that. Noble Jacks.
So
I got
we're
you.
almost done. We're almost done.
Yes. So
I'm
Noble Jacks,
gonna
shoot me an email, claire@blownforgood.com. Thank you so much.
Good. And now 5, 4. Where am I? I got to go to the comments. Okay. So whoever wants my book. Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt's caustic comments. Good. You want a book? So send me a message, amy@scobiepublishing.com, and I will send that over to you. Hooray. Okay.
Awesome.
And please subscribe to both of our channels. And I also have this banner. You're freaking me out all of a sudden. This is where please subscribe to Mike's channel at Mike Brown 101. I'm going to make it go longer because I'm messing up here.
It's okay.
And
I'm
with
so
Scientology,
sorry.
it's always worse than you think.
Yes.
Right?
Unfortunately, it is.
It is.
Yes, but thank you
Matt
so much to Mike for being here. Thank you so much to everyone who stayed and watched till the very end. It was lovely seeing you all here.
Yes. All right. Love you, Mike. Love you,
Hey,
Claire.
so great.
Give Emily a hug from me.
I will.
Yes.
She says hi.
We'll see everybody.
Awesome.
We'll see everybody later.